Shawn Newlands, and I'm the Executive Director of the Healthy Start Coalition, and I've been there 10 years, and I have been on this campus for 14 years. My previous position was Tom's at the Literacy Council, so I like to keep it in the family here. And I first of all want to start by saying how very thankful we are and grateful that we are a part of this campus and everything that you all do for us. I know I've had the opportunity to serve on the Glasser board in the past, and we could not really fulfill our mission without all of you guys as community partners. I mean, how great is it to walk a client to the next building for services or across the campus for services. So I just first of all want to say again, Glasser, we are thankful and thankful that you're doing this today for us. And I'm actually going to not be the one up here talking today, which I'm kind of excited about, because we have bitten off so many new initiatives that everyone knows. Healthy Start is, our mission is really to make sure that every baby born in Sarasota County gets that healthy start they deserve. Well, we've been adding more and more initiatives, more and more staff, our budget's growing, and with that, I thought today would be a great opportunity to really focus on introducing there's new programs that we're doing and letting you all know what else is available from Healthy Start. So I'm actually going to turn it over to my team today, and I'm going to start with Yasmil Serrano first.
Hello. And quite frankly, I also want to say, just call me Jazz if you guys see me in the stomping grounds and on the block. So one of my roles at Healthy Start as a special projects coordinator has been to kind of tie in a lot of our new little special initiatives. And to kind of open it up how we are able to work together in addressing some of those community barriers that a lot of us are already facing. And I do want to take 2 seconds and inform you that our cameraman, Alex Amaya, is also one of our team dads, coaches, so I think it's important to highlight, to Sean's point, we are a small but mighty team. So with that being said, who are we? A lot of people just keep hearing Healthy Start, and what does Healthy Start really entitle? Well, just about 30 years ago, Florida ranked number 50 in the infant maternal deaths in the entire country. So a need was identified. How was this need identified? Well, the governor of the state at that time ended up having a need with his family. He ended up realizing that if he wasn't able to find those resources, having the ability to find resources to help his family, how was the rest of the state able to do that? And him and his wife really made it their goal, and they created Healthy Start. So the Healthy Start Coalition, we have 32 coalitions across the state. So here right now we service Sarasota County. If you walk somebody over and they come in from Bradenton, we connect them to our Manatee office. So we are very well connected, and like we stated, we started in 1988, and we primarily get our referrals through the Connect program, which is really the physicians' offices that refer. We have some referrals from First 1,000 Days. A lot of you use the Unitas platform and refer families to us that way as well. And we have, and in fact, a parent can certainly walk into our office and refer themselves. That's also very important that we share. So we have our 2 home visiting models. Under the Department of Health, we have the Healthy Start part, which is the home visiting, and then we have Healthy Families. So depending on when we take in a call, we offer these services to the families depending on how many visits they want in the home or other factors that are taken into account. So it's a needs assessment. At that point, we don't just make that call and say, oh, Healthy Families or Healthy Start. We ask, do you have any food insecurities? At that point, we refer them to All Fakes. Do you have any mental health or drug addiction issues? We will use and do the referral services this way. So depending on that call, it's not just the conversation on the question list, it's what feelings we're getting from these families, right? And I always like to bring up my little NICU baby, because I think a lot of times our families that are dealing with the NICU situation, this is a 23-week-older, and if those of you know how TikTok is, they're saying this is a viable baby. And we have to understand that circumstances have to be in place for this baby to be successful. And we really work on educating those moms prenatally, and let's try to avoid the 23-weeker. right? So that's why that little picture's there. But we're a lot more than that. We have, to Sean's point, expanded in so many ways. And I do want to commend Sean and Sarah and Patricia. So Healthy Start does not just build a foundation without assessing the land underneath. So we made sure that before we took on these programs, that we were listening to what the community needed. So I'm actually gonna pass this down to my Team Dad coach, Curtis Hayes, who FYI is our first African-American doula, certified, is the only doula on this side of Florida, and is currently becoming one of our breastfeeding educators. So I wanted that to be proud.
Thank you, Yas. And like Yas stated before, I am one of two of the Team Dad coaches. The other Team Dad coach is Alex Amaya, who is bilingual and he speaks Spanish, but he's on camera duty today. So Team Dad, the acronym for team stands for Teaches, Empowers, Advocate, and Mentors for men on their fatherhood journey. This program is designed to help fathers and men become better fathers. It offers education through training, and it helps them become more responsible, engaged, and empower fathers through the 24/7 Dad curriculum, which is the oldest fatherhood curriculum in the United States. These sessions are one-on-one at the convenience of the father. So if a father has an hour before work, after work, or during lunch, that's when we do the sessions. We make it convenient for them, so we meet them at their time. Our goal is to increase awareness, knowledge about being a good father, and promote positive parenting skills to help them mesh with their parents and their children. Also, we hope to boost their self-esteem as men and fathers. When I took this job a year ago, I had one simple goal, and that was just to create men who communicate and were better with their emotions. Since becoming a doula, that mission has changed. My mission now is to create a group of men who are more informed to help their partners and their children make more informed decisions for future generations.
Curtis, because of course that's what I do. But Curtis actually took one of his clients to open his very first checking account at Carlos's Bank in Newtown. So we were able to build that relationship, and so Curtis has really not only done stuff, but he's focusing on financial literacy and all of that. And I have to say, he is a very brave man to come into an office of all women.
And I definitely gave him a hard time during doula training. I've been a doula for 20 years, so I made sure that it was a nice experience there. But I think that when it comes to Team Dad and making that world around, before I touch upon the other two programs, I am the instructor for Save My Life and Por Ti Tu Bebé. Team Dad has been instrumental in me being able to link my fathers to services. If you have not watched the movie Aftershock, please watch the movie Aftershock. The movie Aftershock talks about the high rate that African American women and women of color face when it comes to maternal death post-labor. So within the first month, for those of you who are in obstetrics, you know that the stats that I'm saying are true. Within the first month for those women is their highest level of mortality. What ends up happening is that our women are not educated, or they are educated but do not have the voice to self-advocate when it comes to feelings of I'm not feeling well after I gave birth. So high levels of embolism and heart attacks and strokes. With that being said, is why we made it our mission to make sure that our dads are involved. So with that said, the Save My Life program really focuses on the Newtown community, and how I have changed this program so many times, because to me it's meeting a client where their needs are. And for those of us who have been trying to get involved with the Newtown community, even though Glasser-Schoenbaum is in Newtown, you understand the challenges that we face based on historical issues with some of our agencies. Some of ours are just kind of parts of the situation. But these moms come into my office, or I come into their environment, wherever they want that environment to be. And we really do speak about what is pregnancy like for you, because a lot of times they base it on either previous pregnancies or life. My grandmother, my mother, they never breastfeed. What's the point of me breastfeeding? So we really do tackle a lot of those myths. The Por Ti Tu Bebé program is the same type of program, just a little bit more structured, because the needs are more for the Spanish-speaking population, and really covering your first 4 trimesters. I do the same as Save My Life. For those of you who are in postpartum care, are starting to really hear that we're focusing on the 4th trimester. Those of us who are doulas or are working on postpartum, that's what we used to call the first 40 days after a mom gives birth. So that's a crucial point in time for moms to A, be successful at breastfeeding, B, getting to know those babies, and tying in those love lessons with the husband. So one of the things that all of these programs are doing is making sure that our dads are aware, to the same point that the mothers are aware. So I've made myself available on Saturdays so that dads can be present and Team Dad can take over at that point. So it's been an extremely rewarding experience. But these are not covered. Well, Team Dad is part of the state. The other 2 are pretty much from wonderful donors and the Barazic Foundation that funds those programs. So those are our programs in that part. But we do more, because we have to do it with you. We can't do this ourselves. So we have community partnerships, to the point that I have walked over a parent to the Early Learning Coalition. I have had different hats in my days, and one of those was working with children with special needs. Another was working with seniors with Parkinson's. So there's certain things, hats that I have, that I cannot at that moment deal with, but I know that I can walk them over to the Early Learning Coalition. I know that I can reach over to Neuro Challenge when it comes to Parkinson's. There's so many services and community partners. I work really closely with Center Place Health with a lot of our moms. Mothers Helping Mothers, with the fathers programs, like we said, the bank, being able to get these people financially literate so that we can be a better, stronger community. We can only do this with community partners. Engaging constituents where they feel. For those of you who are aware, we held the mom prom. It was the first mom prom. I do not want to cry. So Sean had a dream, I had a dream, and we didn't know that each of us was having separate dreams. So we had a conversation, because I was kind of getting a little tired with moms. All we can do when they express depression is mental health counseling. I kind of wanted to take care of the other part, feeding that little girl. So we had mom prom at Robert Taylor. We had the community donate over 200 dresses. These women came in, tried on these dresses. It was a beautiful experience, and then they danced the night away. And we actually selected a prom court. So you have a prom queen. One story that was very powerful that we heard from our care provider team, there was a mom with serious postpartum depression. Mom prom was the first time she came out of her house. And it was the first time she felt part of a group of women. The women from Solve Home came in, tried on dresses, and Sarah can tell you, it was a giggling experience the entire time. That is what we do. It's not just about numbers. It's really not about numbers to us. It's about the quality of the services that we provide these individuals. Okay, what does this build? If you come into a program where everybody treats you as a family member, it starts building trust, a desire to engage. It starts building that sense of belonging. Shared goals. I have a goal. My moms have told me they have a goal. We're gonna have a mommy's cafe. They need a time to be able to express what the challenges of motherhood is with each other. That then creates a thriving community. We have a community that can lean on each other. And those are goals. And this is gonna take trust. And the only way that we have trust and build trust is meeting our clients where they are with zero judgment. There is not one person that walks into our office that we will judge their path. Okay? Their path is their path, and our goal is to reach them to their goal. Our goal is not our goal, it's their goal. Okay? So we give them those resources to help them thrive. You know, one thing I do want to share with my teen dads, I had a situation with a father, and I said, where's Alex? I was like, where's Alex? Because this dad admitted to having postpartum depression. And at that point, we needed a male there to help him digest those feelings. Not that I'm not adequate or involved, I think there's just something, and men can share this, men-to-men communication. With that said, we have another one of our wonderful co-workers, Alicia Williams, can speak to you further about what FEMUR. Oh wait, sorry, maybe not. Okay, let me go back, sorry, it's my fault. The referrals, so we get referrals via the Connect program, which you might see in some pediatricians' offices. There is a scan code, we take forms. Darlene Murray is not here, but she's the person who does our community liaisons. Again, walk-ins, community partners, Parents Who Matters, etc. Community outreach like health fairs, which I have participated in, Mama Greens, Collard Greens, pediatricians outreach and community organization and parcel sites. This is important because we are not a diaper bank. However, in the past 5 years since 2001, that's 2021 is what I should say, we have provided diapers for over 700 families. So far into 2024, we're already at 169, and this number should be actually updated to 180. We are well on our way to surpass what we served in 2023. So we know when the population is kind of going up. We know when the feeding situation, because we are connected with All Faiths Bank, and we connect people with referrals. We also provide the information culturally appropriate. And this is important. This is important because our women of color, whether it's African American or Latin, there's things within our culture that impact the way we raise our children and actually how we handle our pregnancy. Perfect example, gestational diabetes is not taken seriously in neither one. Because the perception is, I'm just gonna have a fat baby. And we have to really walk through what it means to have gestational diabetes, you know. So we're really working on reducing those health disparities. Sometimes we might get calls from Center Place Health that says, I'm not too sure if this mom understood her diagnosis. And I'm able to tell them because mom does not.
Calling from Youth Prevention Services. You and I were chatting on the phone yesterday.
Okay, that was it with me. So sometimes we end up realizing with talking and coming to meetings that our parents say they speak Spanish. Our parents don't speak Spanish. Our parents use Spanish as a defense mechanism to try to navigate, but they speak native languages to their country. So just because a family says they're from Guatemala, Mexico, Nicaragua, they do not speak Spanish. They speak Mam, they speak Mixteco, they speak other dialects. So what ends up happening is these moms, and the same thing happens with our Creole-speaking families, who will use Spanish as a way to kind of get around. But what we need to understand is that we'll see a lot of this and nothing is going in. So we try to empower our families to use language lines, and there are language lines that offer these ethnic languages. So it's important that they get their health information in the way that they understand. So we really empower them for that. I am a lactation counselor. I'm gonna be going back for my IBCLC. We are trying to really work on increasing our breastfeeding with our Black and brown women. So far, I can say I have 100 success rate. I can say that. They latch 100 times success. So we're still doing the 3-month follow-up. We do the sleep education with SIDS. Substance abuse is something that I talk about the same exact way that I talk about domestic violence. I make it very culturally and open. So we do have mothers that we refer then out to Mothers Helping Mothers, and mothers that we help with making better choices in their life, you know. There's a lot of misconceptions with marijuana and alcohol right now, so we try to really talk about that. And really helping reduce that infant maternal death rate with proper education. However, that doesn't always happen, which is what's gonna now bring us into our femur. And this is Alicia Williams. I will introduce her once again.
Hi, we'll talk about FEMUR. So FEMUR stands for the Fetal Infant Mortality Review, and this is a national review board broken up by states and districts. This review board is made up of community members like doctors, nurses, public health officials, and Healthy Starts, focusing on our local counties, and our district includes Sarasota, Manatee, DeSoto, and Charlotte. This review board carefully examines each case in a confidential and de-identified way, and each case helps to understand each individual's experience and how each situation has factors that could and do impact maternal and child outcomes. The goal of FEMUR is focusing on improvement of care to shrink the gap of health disparities that help to address the root causes of preventable deaths. At the end of each year, the board identifies trends that could be caused by factors outside of individuals' control, and others that can be positively impacted through resources and community interventions. Reviewing these cases and listening to personal interviews helps to identify recommendations that will be created the largest change. We want to reduce the amount of fetal deaths that occur by enhancing our service areas, systems, and resources. This is the FEMUR process. This is called the cycle of improvement that starts with abstracting data, and then we review a few cases each month, about 3 cases, and then we identify needs in our community. So recently we saw that there was a need for education about fetal movement, so we made a magnet to promote and address that need. And lastly, on a broader scale, changes are made to the community system that can be based on recommendations in our reports. So what FEMUR is and does. FEMUR is focusing on the system. It provides open communication between providers, public health officials, and human services to see if we need to recommend policy changes. It uses multiple sources of data. It centers the voices of those who've lost an infant. It has diverse partners that promote community ownership and participation. It's action-oriented, and it helps highlight resources that may not be effective as others in the community. And it gives insight to help equity and disparities to show if they are affecting infant mortality rates. FEMUR is not a process about fault finding or assigning blame for death. FEMUR is not a peer review or medical institutional review process. It's not research into the cause of why this death happened. It's not individual case management, and it does not emphasize whether or not the death was preventable. So overall, FEMUR can offer solutions through implementing policies or practices that can offer changes to positively impact a community. And this is critical in making our communities a better place for future generations by having a future generation. And some things may be out of someone's control, but in other circumstances, there's something we can do about it. So that's why this board exists.
And if you can, out of darkness comes some light. So the fetal movement, count movement really came out of FEMUR. So I can honestly tell you, like, I called the mom, I was monitoring her progress, and she had gone to Center Place Health. She had a sweep. For those who do not know, that means that mom was not in active labor, but pre-labor, and they just disattached a little bit her uterus from her cervix. They opened it a little bit. Whatever the case may be, I called mom on Monday. How are you feeling? I already knew mom had a very high tolerance for pain level. Her husband had already shared that with me. So there was some concern whether she was going to go to the hospital on time or not. Well, when I spoke to mom, I said, well, how are you feeling? She goes, well, I've been feeling a lot of pressure and a lot of headache. High risk, and if you look at our magnets. I said, have you felt the baby move? Not the same as I did before. Go to the hospital now. Mom gets to the hospital, first thing they told her was her water broke on Sunday. Her sister told me that if I wouldn't have made that phone call, her sister was going right back to bed. She was in active labor, but she had back labor. She had a high tolerance for pain, so she didn't think it was what they said on TV. So we always discuss what TV does. TV says your water's gonna break and there's gonna be a gush and we're all gonna run to the hospital and that baby's gonna be born. And us doulas know, and those of us in obstetrics know, you can be in labor for a good week and a half. What we're looking for is active labor. What we're really looking for is that baby moving, because both mom and baby are working at the same time. This came out of femur. So if you look, we have high-risk magnets, and our fetal count magnets have been instrumental in both English and Spanish in helping our mothers really have better conversations with our doctors. And with that being said, if you do want to reach us, please feel free to walk into our office. But I do want to show one thing because I couldn't be the BASC of chair. So for those of you, I mentioned BASC really quickly. BASC is the Breastfeeding Advocates of Sarasota County. We actually have people from DeSoto, from Manatee involved in BASC. I'm always looking for new members. However, with BASC, we have a Golden Nipple Award coming up. So pretty much what this means is we would like for every organization, both online and here, to participate in our wonderful door, office space, window decorating contest, and submit our pictures to the email, to the BASC email. BASC is gonna select the winners, and then we're gonna highlight you on our Facebook page, but we're also gonna go, and Sean is gonna present to you the Golden Nipple Award for different categories. So the goal of this really is, for those of you who are not aware, are we truly breastfeeding friendly? When we use that terminology, we're breastfeeding friendly, how are we highlighting that to our community? So we have, if you visit our website, we have a breastfeeding advocates designee form. So if you're interested in being, in highlighting that you are breastfeeding friendly, you can complete that form. And also you can participate in our BASC Nipple Award and let your clients see, hey, we welcome boobs here. We welcome feeding babies and making sure that that is important. So if you have any questions, and Curtis, go for it.
I just wanted to say, when fathers are engaged early, it ultimately benefits the family. So just remember that when fathers are involved, it benefits the whole family.
And I wanted to add on what he said real quick, that our fatherhood program is not just dads. It can be uncles, grandpas, cousins,
Coaches.
brothers, so father figures. So that's, I just wanted to clarify that. But also, just thank you so much for having us today. And if anyone has any questions, we are open for questions.
Yes, so we are all open for questions, and real quick to all of our Zoom attendees, you are welcome to unmute and open up to questions as well.
This was outstanding. This was outstanding. Thank you all for presenting. I love the mom prom. I was sitting here dabbing my eyes just when you said it, so that was great. I have a question for Curtis. Are you birthing doula, full spectrum? I guess both the doulas.
Yeah, we're birthing doulas, and after we complete, because I've been a doula for 20 years, so I'm doing recertification. Once we complete our certifications, I'm going to become a postpartum doula.
Okay, thank you.
For those who don't know the difference, there's 3 levels to being a doula. You have a death doula, those of you who are with you during the last stages, or I have been a death doula during an active labor that we know the baby wasn't going to survive. A birth doula is just there during labor, prior labor, during labor, and after the first 24 hours to make sure that mom is latched. And a birthing doula is actually somebody that offers newborn care after hours. So we normally go in at 8 p.m. and we're leaving, or whatever the mom and dad decide. So if mom is experiencing some postpartum depression and cannot actively feed her baby or be involved with that, that's where a postpartum doula comes in. We're still promoting the breastfeeding, we're still promoting whatever mom needs. So that's where that differentiation lies.
Sorry, one more
No, it's okay.
Where are the, how do you get your dads?
Through referrals, out in the community. Anytime I see a father, I'll see a male. I just ask them.
The barber shop?
The barbershop.
Yeah.
We have people walking around with Team Dad shirts in Tampa.
Yeah.
So Curtis has been,
The city, Sarasota city workers have been
yeah.
my biggest promoters and my marketing team, and I appreciate them because they go everywhere in Sarasota, and they have the same colors we do. It's green and lime gray, so they're promoting everywhere, and people have seen them, and I just pass out the gear anywhere I can.
Any other questions?
I had a question, speaking about language and how some might not actually understand, and you said language lines.
Some of our organizations are contracted with language translation lines, but especially by law, the medical offices are supposed to. So that is where we try to really encourage parents to talk to them, because by law, they're supposed to offer translation, because medical information is not supposed to be translated by a family member. And that becomes a big deal because I'm first generation. I was a translator for my mom, my grandmother. I found out stuff before they did. It's not fair. That's personal, right? But it's not fair. It really isn't fair. People need to understand what's happening with their bodies in a way that they can actually be able to digest it, especially a pregnant woman, because they're already in a different mental frame.
I actually had a question on, so much of the work you do, I mean, so much of it is direct benefits, like the resources and the trainings and the learning, but there's also a real emotional aspect of it too. Like, would you say that one needs to precede the other? Do they support each other? Or just any, might be a very open-ended question.
You're being
but I'm just
very,
curious
no, it's
about that.
actually a wonderful question. So we're trauma-based informed. What that means, I've taken my trauma-based trainings. We're continuing to take trauma-based trainings. SRQ is on a path to be trauma-based informed. I think that none of us do this job without having come from a place where you needed help. So with that said, we have to take temperature of our own emotional standing when it comes to working with a family, and that's where Sean comes in. So that's where Sean and Sarah come in. That's where we come in as a team. When that mom told me that if it wasn't because of me, it wasn't because of me, it was the medical team. But you create a bond with your families that says, no matter how many lessons I tell them, you can call me. But the first words out of my mouth is after you tell me is, please call your nurse, please call your doctor. They're gonna be better informed. We had a mom who started spotting, and she's a new case and we're working together. Well, she's spotting, she had 2 miscarriages prior. They have a 4-year-old. There's a lot of tension. She's only 14 weeks. So who's she gonna call before she lets her husband know that she's spotting again? She called me. So in the midst of all of that, I still have to keep a level head, and then talking to her after, and her finding out that she's finally gonna have her little girl. And dealing with other aspects of, she might be hypermesis. For those of you who don't know, she has extreme morning sickness. But her husband also lost his job. There's a lot going on with our families that we have to be able to unpack. And that's where Sean comes in, that's where Sarah comes in. I sometimes unpack at 6 o'clock at night because I haven't processed things. I unpack with Curtis. When we did doula training, and Curtis was there for the first time, I'd already been in every single type of birth you can imagine. From taking people out of the room, my own family members, to having a baby pass away. But having Curtis be there, and he got a different perspective. We need our fathers in the picture. And I think that we all feel very strongly that it's not just our fathers, we need our grandmothers involved, we need other family members involved. So when I do fourth trimester, I really try to welcome the entire family in. Because a woman's success rate with breastfeeding and even child and labor really depends on who her support system is. So if I can get dads in, and I tell them, hey, it's not that you're not gonna be able to breastfeed that baby, but give her 4 to 6 weeks, and then support her. Still wake up in the middle of the night and change that diaper. Still have that experience so that then you're the dad that's at Center Place Health with the 3-month-old taking him to the doctor's appointment while mom is working. Because we have to be partners, and that's where Healthy Start. I'm gonna be really honest with you, and this is me speaking off chart. I have my MBA, I have my MS, I have 20 years experience in birthing and delivery. I have found my perfect job. And I mean that in the sense of when you are one, with a wonderful person who has a heart, and two, when you're in an environment that lets you grow because the community needs you to grow, that's important. So when we brought back Aftershock, because it was from a training from Tallahassee, I felt extremely passionate about it. So we ended up having it shown at the Sarasota Film Festival. Because of that, we have a nurse going right back into nursing because she says she needs to be a voice for moms. We are not going to be able to do everything ourselves, but if we help each other, and then we go through steps. So I have moms who ask me, what do I do? What do I feed my baby? Well, I was a nutrition and health person for 0 to 3, so we work on how to feed and how to do weaning and how to renegotiate the breastfeeding contract. So there's different things that we do, but connecting to the families and connecting to our own emotions is big. And that only can be done with a CEO and an exec and an AD who are there to support you, because if not, this is a lot of work. It's emotional work, but it's worth it. So I have to put Sean on the spot for that one. 100%.
Go home and take a nap.
I mean, it's to the point where I'm leaving to Washington on Thursday because I'm going to the postpartum conference up in DC. There's a lot of things that are happening within the world of postpartum that I will behoove you all to really look at. Postpartum depression is not the depression that everybody thinks it is. And what I mean by that is, if you leave with anything, postpartum depression can be presented in one of 2 ways. Either mom is very attached to that baby and nobody's touching that baby. That's how my mom was with us. Or mom wants nothing to do with that baby. Dad wants nothing to do with that baby. It's a loss of self. It's a confusion as to whether I am mom, I am a wife, am I a provider? All of that, it's not the same as when you're depressed and you're in that deep hole and you can't see an out. It's a little bit more involved than that. And what I mean by that, I'll use my final example. I went to a mom's home, very affluent family. So Healthy Start does not just work with individuals who are low income. I want to make that very clear because some of you here might need services from Healthy Start. Healthy Start, we had a very affluent mom, calls me in for a lactation consultation, gave birth to these beautiful twin baby boys that were in the NICU. First of all, I know who said that the red-headed gene is gone because the whole family had red hair. Everybody had red hair. But I walk in there, mom had a nanny, mom had her parents, mom had his parents, mom had her husband, and a beautiful husky and 2 cats. She had it all, right? So as we're speaking, she goes, I can't bring my babies to the breast. Those of us who have worked with trauma know what that means. I'm not one to tell mom what to do. I am one to tell mom, I think you need to speak to your therapist because it sounds to me like there's a little bit more going on than your unwillingness to breastfeed. Mom was sexually assaulted. She wasn't going to breastfeed. So I had to remind her that pumping was okay. Mom didn't think she had postpartum depression because why would she? She has a support system. So a lot of times women don't avail themselves of help because they feel guilty that they have a lot. But the same rule applies. If you need it, doesn't matter what anybody else doesn't have. Your headache is your headache. And if your head hurts, it doesn't matter whether Tylenol works for him, and you need to take care of that headache. And in her case, she was blessed enough to have had her therapist to be able to call. But she needed somebody to tell her, it's okay to feel like this. Because your babies were born at 34 weeks, you know, and they were in the NICU, and these were the babies that they yearned for. So within the blessing, if you ever get to see my presentations with mom, I'll put, it's okay to be happy that you're pregnant. It's okay to be sad that you're pregnant. Let's work through these emotions. What I don't want him to think, and what none of us wants him to think, is that it's okay to do this by yourself. So that's where Healthy Start will continue to flourish. That's where, no matter who you are, and Patricia's my witness, I don't care who you are. You need me, I'll be there. So that's where that mentality comes in, because we say moms, and I'm hoping that Healthy Start changes their mission now. Every baby deserves a healthy family. Regardless of what that family makeup is, every baby deserves that. And we are seeing our babies being born with trauma response. And if our babies are being born with trauma response, that means that there's trauma in the house. During those first 2 trimesters, where now baby's able to listen and to at least hear mom's emotion. So that's that. Yeah.
So you're talking about this film called Aftershock?
It's called Aftershock. It's on Hulu.
On Hulu, okay.
And it's from my hometown, New York City. So it's very, very emotional to see what has happened, but it wasn't surprising.
It comes from a dad's point of view on losing the partner in pregnancy. And it's really the story of the fathers carrying on after the mother's death. It's very emotional, but it is on Hulu. And I know Danielle was there. She came when we showed it. She can probably attribute, but it was actually, it was a great film, and it really brought great awareness to where we need to remember, like, that's a lot, and it happens all the time. We're losing mothers.
It's a call to action, because I think that what that movie ended up showing, so the nurse that went back is white, and she went back because she said, if I'm not a voice, and they're not listening to these mothers, I'm in a position to have a voice. And I think that the beauty of that movie, because that's, again, through darkness there's some light, it shows you, and these men are able to very well vocalize the loneliness they felt when they called for help. And I think that it behooves all of us to never judge somebody, regardless of anything. And the interesting part about this young lady was, the main person who passed away, her mother was a doula. Her whole family was in birth. They knew and they still were not listened to. They still were asked if she was on drugs. And she had a pulmonary embolism that could have been avoided. So a lot of that's what we do, and that's what we'll bring into the table. Sometimes I do have to bring into the table that raw to some of our families, so that they can understand what's at risk. And sometimes it's just a matter of, I call a mom, like this mom got miscarried. I'm like, we're celebrating your 16 weeks. Because every week can be a celebration, you know. As far as Sister just gave birth to a 38-weeker with lupus. She wasn't supposed to make it past 25 weeks. So we celebrate moms. So.
I have a question, I'll read for you first. I have just a suggestion, how about a dad's daughter prom?
I love that. We love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. I think that when it comes to celebrating our families, anything and everything, and we need more dads that are active dads and that can push team dads, so he'll hook you up with a shirt and everything else. I do want to shout out to Ashley. Ashley's actually one of our BASC members, so that's just to show you that Parenting Matters is part of BASC. So if you do wish to be part of BASC, please let me know. Again, the Breastfeeding Advocates of Sarasota County, and you can shoot me an email. I put an email on there as well. So.
Also, too, just one as an executive director, I think it's great you have a couple of your board members here. You know, all roads lead to the top. You know, good governance and leadership and vision. So it's good to have.
Thank you for coming.
So, for all the great work that you do, what volunteer opportunities that do you have? You know, we hear in community, people looking for volunteers. How many need volunteers both in this program and just generally?
I will actually let Patricia answer that one.
Well, there are a couple of things. Because there are HIPAA considerations, our volunteers can't really be involved in the child piece of it, or the moms. We have certain restrictions. But we do have a lot of other opportunities through our events. Some of those are fundraising events, and some of them are community outreach. Our baby shower is a community event that we just had recently at Robert Taylor. And we needed a lot of volunteers in addition to Kiwanis, who has been our partner for that event for over 20 years. I do want to take the opportunity to say that our Breakfast of Champions, which is where we celebrate women, men, businesses that have supported Healthy Start in one or many ways, to be recognized at our Breakfast of Champions on September 18th. You're all welcome to attend. It's also when we present our new board members. That's September 18th. We don't need volunteers for that, but we do have other events where we definitely welcome Mom Prom. You know, we made a call for volunteers. The office can always use volunteers. We can get together and always have a list of tasks. I normally ask the person, what do you not like to do? And what do you like to do? And I find something that's appropriate. So we've been blessed that way to have them just come in. We also have, during the summer, some students come in. We're open to everything. The only piece that can't happen is that interaction. Like I had one woman say, I love babies. I want to go in and hold those babies.
They all want to play.
Well, let's get yours.
We can't have you hold babies, but we can have you help support activities that will let, you know, moms and families better hold their babies, healthy babies. So we're open to any kind of input, visits. Just stop by. Our door is always open, and we have a regional summit, which is substance use disorder and how it impacts the pregnant woman and the neonate. So this is our 6th annual regional summit that is happening also at the Carlisle on October 15th. And that's more of an educational opportunity, and we welcome volunteers for setup and just, it's a tabling event where anybody that sponsors or attends can certainly display their organization and you know, talk about what they do and how that interacts with what Healthy Start does. So our doors are open. Please visit, please call, please come. If you have some extra money laying around,
Donations, car seats, drinks.
you know, go to Costco, Sam's, whatever. You know, you were doing that shopping and you saw that box of diapers in your face.
Yep, exactly.
Well, buy it and bring it. We have a huge need for diapers. And wipes.
I did want to mention one thing. We please, on your papers, write in big letters, Evening for Healthy Start, February 15, and my organization will sponsor. We are looking for big donors for our first big gala type event for Evening for Healthy Start that will take place on February 15th. And it's going to take place at Resilient Retreat. So, exactly, you see what I mean? Write it down in your calendars. To Patricia's point, and bring it back to your organization. You fellow CEOs can bring it back to your boards and see how you can help us better serve our community and our constituents. Feel free to buy a table. And we'll have those packets ready for you soon. So if you do have that desire as well, please email Sean and she'll give you further information.
One more question from me. So you talked about referrals and partnership with Center Place Health. On campus, are there any other organizations that either you currently are partnering with equally or that you would like to?
Pretty much anybody and everybody in here is open game for me. So Alicia did this wonderful job. And if you see in the back, we have a QR code, and that's our resource guide. And you guys, a lot of you guys are already in there.
Actually, I think, yes, if you don't mind me interrupting, if we are a partner of yours, or we have partnered with you, why don't you raise your hand?
You guys, 1, 2. ELC, early learn, you guys too. We've done the literacy council.
So anyway, we'd love to partner with all of you. So our doors, we're building and we also are the tour guides of Dr. Schoenbaum, since we are the first building that they always come to. So if y'all want a tour, I can give you that.
So we know where everybody is just because we've had to learn that map. But yeah, we're always open to any type of partnership. And I also want to make you all think about the following. Yes, we service the pregnant women and the babies till they're 3. But guess who needs jobs? And guess who has opportunities? And I want to share a wonderful success story. Because through the Early Learning Coalition and the classes that you offer, one of our moms graduated from being able to work with babies and is actually actively applying for Central Place Health. And her baby's not even a year. Her baby's going to turn a year now. So we have parents that are qualified to work in your organizations that are looking for jobs. So if you have any of those, feel free to send them in our way as well. We have a wonderful web designer who's looking for, those are the type of questions and needs that we also service. And if we can forward them to somebody, you might have a great catch right then and there, so.
Well, I think we can all give a huge round of applause. So, of course, a huge thank you to the Healthy Start team. This is the end of the event, but it does not have to be the end of checking in and getting to know this amazing team and all of your fellow neighbors. So, while we're going to be closing the event down, you're more than welcome to stay, ask some questions, get to know anyone, pass some cards around. So, feel free to stay and do that. There's probably some leftovers, so seconds are definitely encouraged. And if anyone has any questions that go beyond the event, if you want to have any help with getting connected with someone in this room, feel free to shoot me that email. I'm going to be sending a follow-up email to our attendees with the survey for the event in case you haven't done the physical copy. But you can absolutely email me or give me a call if you'd like to get back up there, any help getting connected. All right, well, thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm going to be coming around collecting those raffle tickets. So
I'm going to do the raffle. Like, I don't know what STC